This is Jemima Dove speaking with Lindy Morrison. And we were talking a little bit about access to things and how when you can't get your hands on something, it becomes more valuable almost, and how social media has made so many things available for us to look at and share. And you were saying something about an interview that you had found or some comments?
So I've been recently digitising stuff, and
well, that's a laborious job.
Well, I just take it somewhere and get someone to do it.
Good.
But I've been finding... So I did an interview in 1995 with Richard Wilkins. I've put it up on... it's on YouTube. I've got a channel called Lindy. It's at Lindy Morrison 1. And it's an interview with Richard Wilkins where I had written an educational book and made a video of called The History of Australian Women in Rock and Pop in 1993 to 5, I think, but it came out in 95, and it was to be used in all the educational institutions. It was for an organisation called Awesome Music, which was a lobby group set up by the federal government to develop the music industry. And the interview, I discuss all the kind of special obstacles that women faced in the 60s, but the book is about special obstacles right through to when I wrote the book. And it's actually like incredible things like Little Patty saying she would never headline the bill no matter how many hit records she had. Laurel Lee saying that she was kicked off 6 O'Clock Rock by Johnny O'Keefe because she wanted to sing Shake, Rattle and Roll, and he said that's a man's song, you can't sing that. And she said, well, then I'm not going to sing. A woman called... another woman said that she couldn't get on Bandstand because the compere said she was too fat, you know. So it's that. You'll see it on YouTube. I'm just about to... I've published on YouTube the actual video of interviews with people like Kylie Minogue, Tina Arena, Wendy Matthews, Penny Flanagan, Ruby Hunter, Christina New. So I did all these interviews, and there's a early 90s commentary from me, which is really naff now. Like, and, you know, I'm not an academic, but, you know, like it's like really 101 of feminism. And anyway, it's on YouTube, and it's called Sisters Are Doing It, DOIN apostrophe, for doing it for themselves. And also there's the book that went with that, and I'm just about to post that on YouTube where that can be found on my channel, because that covered the women I didn't get to. So I couldn't get to Christina Amphlett, although later on I met her up with her, and her manager wouldn't let me near her, and she was devastated when I told her, you know. But those things happen, of course, when you're rising up, when you're a star, like she really was a star. And also I didn't get to Renee Geyer, but I have quotes. What I did was find quotes from them, from other sources, and put them in the book. Yep. So it's interesting now. I mean, you know, those things, they're kind of weird, the commentaries now when you look at them, but it's history, and you know, it's the history of women's culture.
And it's a snapshot of the time, and it's reminded me of that great YouTube clip that you're with Alex the astronaut, and you're looking at that interview with Andrew Denton, and you know, Alex, I can see that they are incensed by what's going on, but also so impressed with your composure and how you manage the situation with fun and sort of humour, which I think is a great leverage when we're trying to have conversations that can make people uncomfortable or difficult. And it just also reminded me that, you know, looking through those YouTube clips of you, when you're playing, you look like you're having such fun, that you're in the flow, you're in the moment.
Yeah.
And you know, that's something that maybe we should, you know, encourage young people to pick up an instrument, because mental health is so important, especially post-COVID. And, you know, playing music and making music and encouraging others to make music is something that you've been doing most recently pre-COVID. You've just retired from that social work. So are you thinking that you might put all these experiences together in another form? I know you said you put them up on YouTube, but have you thought about that? Are you thinking about that?
I don't want to do anything more now than just play drums.
Yeah.
I had so many diverse experiences working in the music industry, from the day my daughter was born, till my daughter, left home. Raising my daughter, I had to have. I had to straighten up. I had to bring in money. I couldn't sit around, penniless like I'd done in the go-betweens. That was impossible. And so one of the things I did was work in community music for decades, running drum pageants like on riverbanks in Mackay, or parades in Beachport in South Australia, or directing a show in Mount Isa. So, lots of stuff like that. And then, of course, I became absolutely fascinated by the copyright industries. And that was because I was exploring my own contracts and trying to understand what was happening. And, I really loved teaching copyright and trying to explain it in a way that students would understand it and find it interesting. So looking at all the cases and exploring the judgments on cases, and during the time that piracy was rampant, and everybody was like, everything should be free, and sampling everyone should be able to sample, and isn't it great? We can all just get what we want now, and information's freer. I was very, very copyright, not copyleft, and So anyway, I'm now don't want to do any of that. I don't. I just and Support Act, of course. So Support Act was the music industry charity that I helped to develop over 25 years, and that was huge. Huge amount of energy, unbelievable, and I absolutely loved meeting all the, in particular, crew who came to Support Act for help. I made really enduring relationships with many roadies and began to understand their lifestyle, and not that I didn't but before, but I really began to understand the pressures they were under, and I saw many a man break down, and it's just terrible when you see the pain that crew go through as they get older, and are unable to work because they love their job, and anyway, so I don't know why I went off on that tangent.
But we're talking about the music industry, and we're talking about all those different facets that you've had opportunity to be involved with, and again, it's just something that I find so amazing about you, is that you're advocating for all these different groups who perhaps not necessarily, who are on the edges of attention, and bringing those in, and that's really important. Here on Drastic on Plastic, we try and do the same with the music that we play. We're always looking for people who are doing interesting things within genres or combining genres, and I know that all of us in the team really keen to know what you are listening to. You must be listening to stuff, and you must have worked with some interesting people. Is there people that we should go and check out, and that you can say to our listeners, go and see those people?
Well, I'm a huge fan of Stella Donnelly. You must be familiar with her work. I'm sure her drummer's from Perth, I think.
Yeah, I think she's from Perth.
And she's from Perth. All right.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm a huge fan of Stella's. That's right. I didn't realise that. I've said to her on a few occasions she should be writing for music theatre. She's that clever with she's so funny. She's a very, very funny writer and very conversational as well. Of course, I'm terribly fond of Alex the Astronaut. I played with her for 2 years, so that was truly great. And she has a young women band now, and they're from Brisbane. The drummer is brilliant. I just can't think of her name right now. Young, brilliant, classically trained drummer. So it's really well worth to seeing her. now there's a punk band in Brisbane that I really like, starting with C, that I can't think of now. The something. That's really embarrassing.
No, it's all right, because what we'll do is we'll put another track on and then we can look it up on the system.
Yeah. Okay, do you want to do that?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I've got, we're talking about your friend Tracy earlier on, and I was just Googling, and they had a new single last week.
Oh, yes, I know.
Yeah. So I thought we'd play that. So this is the latest track from Everything But the Girl. It's 4:20. You're listening to Drastic on Plastic here on RTRFM 92.1. Might do this first, though.